visits.
Well, we'll try this episode, and then we can dick around with it a little bit and see how it goes.
We can't dick around because this is the episode. You're talking in it right now.
We're in episode now?
I've put this in.
You're not going to cut this?
As an intro. This is our intro.
Welcome to the podcast. We have no idea what we're doing.
Welcome to the Lore Dump. We're professionals.
Professional. I've never been considered one of those.
Anyways, welcome to the Lore Dump.
Hello.
We are excited to be here and very unprepared for this.
We are. It's going to be good. Because
it's a stream of consciousness show.
Yeah, where we be feral at a microphone for an hour. Yeah. Okay.
Accurate.
10 out of 10.
You introduce yourself first.
Okay.
Because I demanded.
Everybody, I'm Josh, aka the Governor. I do like social media stuff, cosplaying a lot of D&D content, and I work with Sean at the Welcome Inn, making amazing quality D&D content for everybody on the internet.
That's cool. That's good. It's good to have you here, Josh.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I am Sean, or Mr. Chickadance, if you're feeling nasty, on TikTok mostly, or any social medias. I'm a sentient garbage human who has tricked Josh into allowing him on his Twitch channel, which has been very nice and good for me. It's been fun.
Tricked. I don't recall that being how it went down, but we'll leave the mystery. We'll leave the mystery there for our audience.
This is the prestige. This is the reveal of my trick the whole time. So you can't know it before I reveal it to you.
It's such prestige.
Otherwise, it's...
Wow. I had no idea, Sean. You've done so well.
I did get you.
Yes.
I did get you.
Once again, I have been fooled by the Mr. Chickadance.
The one and only. It's me, myself, and I. And this is our new show, Lore Dump.
Lore Dump.
Where together, me and my feral boy toy here will work on creating a homebrew world together.
Boy toy?
Huh? I don't think anyone heard that one. I'm probably going to cut that out.
It's true. No, that stays.
We're going to work on creating our own homebrew world together, collaboratively, as it makes it much easier for us to function, as Josh is an anthropology major and I am lazy, but I have spurts of inspiration.
Okay. You just gave my background, but let's give you you've got some background too that I'm pretty sure you pull upon as well. Tell us about.
I don't know what you're talking
tell us about your inspiration.
My inspiration? What are you talking about? Inspiration.
What's your history with like you say I'm an anthropology major. Now you have a degree, right?
I have a psychology degree. Wow. I don't know how much that does with fantasy.
That's what you used to trick me. What are you on the Sweet Channel?
I will say that is my prestige trick. I use psychology to make you my fool.
You use it to make me feel things like emotions.
That's weird. It's a weird way you just said that. And you can't see his face, audience. It is grotesque. He is sexualizing me.
The part of
I do not find
the things that you're saying hurt my feelings because my face hasn't changed.
Oh, right.
I just look like
it's always. It always when you're looking at me.
Yeah. Well,
we should probably build out this world because people have already deleted this app from their entire phones, or Spotify, or wherever we're putting this.
This is pointless. It's just two idiots talking into microphones.
It's for us. It's for us.
Well, okay, let's explain one thing really quick. So what we're doing, right, is we're gonna build a world. We're gonna start kind of from like what's the geography, what's the region, like all those sorts of things, and then get into more like nitty gritty. We'll hopefully homebrew items and monsters and things like that as well. But the idea is that you guys, as we progress, can send in questions. Some of you already have, unwittingly, because Sean prompted you to.
I specifically asked for questions.
Yes.
If you do want to ask us any questions, you can send us an email at lorddumpquestions@gmail.com, and we'll pour through them there. We'll answer them on the show. You can also, send us a little question on Twitter if you want to. We're the Lore Dump on Twitter. I got that one at least.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And Instagram. So you can send us any questions pretty much anywhere you would use your phone. We'll probably find it.
Yeah, Twitter's awesome.
But Josh is correct. Awesome. This first episode is just to get the basis of the world started so that we can sort of, every episode, create a different part of it, in addition to, in future episodes, answering some audience questions. It's gonna be good times.
it's gonna be a real. I'm pretty excited. I like world building. I like
Yeah.
Sean. I like Sean world building, so it's gonna be a good time.
I like Josh. I like worlds. I like worlds with Josh in them.
Stop. Quiet.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So getting like right into the meat. Is there anything else we need to like cover before we start? I guess. Right?
I think we're good.
So, how do you conceptualize the world? Like, what's your starting point? And this is a big question. Like, this is one of the like
This is the biggest question.
We've been on panels before, right?
Yes.
And like we get asked this question a lot.
I've never once been on a panel, but I appreciate. Well, actually, no.
You were on the flannel panel.
We ran our own panel. I
Yeah,
cheated.
You've been there.
Faked my own credentials to get into my own panel. That is the first question I think everyone asks when talking about world building. Like, where do you start? Where's your starting point? Josh, I assume you're very anthropology based, and you sort of go from. Are you bottom up? I assume.
So my anthropological background was, this is going to get real nerdy for a minute. My focus was on the impact of Roman and the city of Rome's geography on the architecture, and then further implications on Roman society from there.
Man.
So I like to start with geography. I really do. Because how humans travel, what resources are available, so on and so forth. Humans are other sentient races in D&D's cases.
Yeah, they're mostly dwarves, and then also humans. I just heard about recently from Josh.
Dwarves are the most important.
Yeah,
but
this is a dwarf first podcast. I don't know if that's our first official stance is dwarf first.
Dwarf. That's actually where. So I'm gonna scratch my whole prior answer. You start with dwarves.
Where are the dwarves? Where's the mountains? Where's the hills?
Where's the mountains?
Where's the
Underdark? Tunnels?
That's it.
Yeah,
those 3 places.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah.
Once you've got that sussed out, the rest of it you can just not do. And then when your players join you at the tabletop, they're really going to appreciate the world you've built for them.
All races except for dwarves are incredibly rare on this world.
Yes.
No, but back to seriousness. Sorry.
Okay, yes, this is going to happen a lot.
It's going to happen a lot. I'm going to cut it all. I'm going to cut half of this out. It's going to be fun.
Oh, okay, good stuff. I'm going to go back and listen to this, and it's all going to be...
It's going to be streamlined. I'm like, wow, we sound really good. And I'm like, yeah, it took me 5 days to do that.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So starting with a continent or a couple of continents if you want to get overboard, or even... You don't have to have a whole continent. Like... Focus in on where your players are going to be if you're starting from scratch. Like if you're not developing a whole world, Sean and I, it's going to be a little different because our intent is just to create a world to play in later. Mm-hmm. But consider your circumstances.
Yes.
And then begin from there. But I do, even like understanding that context, if I'm defining a coastline or a forested region, I will then begin likely with the geography myself.
It's a very good thing to begin with.
What about you?
I think I tend to be from top down. Like, the thing I think about is more creation myth and how that started and how that affects the world as a whole. So I think about what pantheon I want to use. I tend to not use already existing ones because I make everything up. I'm a weirdo. But I tend to make that myth at the start and then work down from there. Like, okay, well, what did this land come about as? Or who made this land? Like, who made the individual races, or where did they come from if they weren't here already? I tend to think
that's so crucial.
It is.
Like, it is.
Because I'm pretty sure every D&D campaign I've ever watched or consumed in any fashion has at some point touched upon the creation myth and why it's so important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it inevitably happens no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like, see, this is the funny thing about me is like, I always perceive gods as sorry, internet. I perceive gods as a construct of humanity as representations. Oof. So a lot of the time, yeah, I know.
Taking our second stance already.
Yeah. Well, this is a personal stance, not the stance of anybody else. But like, so when I think of gods, the gods of the world are at least the way the world interacts them is based on the races on the planet.
Yes.
That's not the case. The gods in D&D have to exist.
Correct.
It's just their understanding may be different to what they actually are. So you have to do it.
That's interesting.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Either way.
it's hard to disassociate of gods being man-made when you're making them up yourself. It is difficult to be like, well, I mean, yeah, they would make this up, but I just made it up, so it seems kind of made up, you know?
Yeah, but that is like, because religion has such a huge impact on everything that the societies do.
Of course,
or the lack thereof.
And also, I feel like it's the breeding ground for every conflict that ever happens anywhere. It trickles down into these smaller conflicts that then branch off into these other conflicts that all root back to the original storyline of the gods.
Especially for sure in like a high fantasy campaign or like a fantasy
high
campaign.
magic campaigns are the only campaigns.
Oh, so that's what we're doing? Is that what we're doing here?
No.
Which is another thing, like, but that is another thing that you need to define.
Yeah.
What is magic's influence? And a lot of that ties into the gods argument.
I think high magic gives you the ultimate ability to create whatever the fuck you want. And I think creating a low magic campaign, while it may be what you guys want to play, it limits the person who's creating. If they're not a very politically or like intrigue type person, they won't be able to make an interesting story without that magic element, which you can just say, this is what happens because I've deemed it. And magic also.
And that's a really good point. I think that, like, if you're doing low magic, it really is like a serious commitment to of the players. So we touched upon 3 really important things, which seems like a lot to try and define. So maybe we start with those?
Sure. Yeah.
So we got gods, we've got
geography,
what magic looks like, and we've got geography.
Yeah, those 3 things are basically, I think those are the most important 3 for any beginning of the campaign. What type of world are you going to build? That makes sense. And I don't think we have to get all of the filling for every continent laid out in this first episode, because I'm hoping to keep it to about an hour.
6 hours later.
I don't believe that should be a thing. I think we should try and get just the base like outline of what the continents, how big is each continent, like maybe get a rough estimate of size and military power.
So really we're touching upon the 4th element, which is scale.
Scale.
How big are we building?
Scale.
We building at a planet scale, a national scale, a continent scale, a country scale? Like,
well, the idea is to get the whole world. We're building a world.
Yeah.
So planet?
But I kind of like to, and I you know, I think I've seen, like, Matt Mercer's method was kind of like this. Start with a continent. Have your creation myth. You can always get a second continent in there, like there's space, or a third continent, but you don't have to do all the continents at the same time as well. Because that allows you to, like, have some flexibility and pull in some other foundation lore after the fact if you think up something really cool you want to add in after.
That is a good one. So
maybe we're doing a continent.
Before we launch the actual episodes, we can take as much time as we want to build out the world before we start taking, you know, our audience requests or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do bits and bobs.
Bips and bobs. Let's do bips and bobs.
Bips and bobs. Okay. So
first bip.
Creation myth. Sean, creation myth. Are we creation mything for a continent, or are we creation mything for the planet? Because there's so many. Creation myth can also come in, like, you can have a creation myth for a race, you can have a creation myth for a landmass, you can have a creation myth for a planet, right?
I think we should come up with the creation myth for the world and at least the vast majority of life. Not every specific being needs to be created by someone, but if we wanted to do like a general, like, this is how this planet and this landmass came to be.
That seems valid. So hear me out on this.
I'll hear you out.
Giant Giant space chicken
Giant space chicken.
poops out a round egg.
Well, who pooped out the giant
Into
space
space.
chicken? No. We need to answer this question. Who pooped out the giant space chicken, Josh?
Okay, so we're getting really deep into theology immediately here. Chicken or egg, right?
Well,
What if they both
space chicken or
happened?
planet egg, but yes.
Right, space chicken, planet egg, potato. But so you've got your space chicken, you've got your planet egg. Which came first? Well, I don't know. Who made maybe space dinosaurs? Did the space dinosaurs evolve into space
So
chickens?
we've got
Essentially
space dinosaurs.
flightless birds.
We've got space dinosaurs who then evolve into space chickens who then lay an egg that hatches the world.
Yes.
Okay, I can get behind that.
I don't know that we need to actually follow this creation myth, but it does touch upon the what came first element that is really important.
I do like this as being true, but then no one on the planet believing it. And it's just some weird cult who's like, the space chicken is first and foremost. And I'm like,
Space chicken.
you're fucking insane. Get away from me, crazy guy.
And it could be like the space chicken is a metaphor for some great astral
Capitalism.
planar creature. Or capitalism.
Or the great, bigger creature, yes.
So there was once essentially a metaphorical space dinosaur
Okay.
who slowly, over billions of years, evolved into a small flightless bird space
I
creature.
do have an idea for the name of this space chicken. It is referred to as He Who Calls the Dawn.
He who calls the dawn.
So it's basically our Pelor is a space chicken.
Oh, that's so good.
But no one but it's knowing that it's a space chicken is like deep, ancient, forgotten knowledge. And it's
Nobody
just
knows
referred to
this.
as He Who Calls the Dawn or the Sunbringer or any of those terms that the sun god.
Right.
But it's just a fucking giant space chicken, and no one knows.
Giant space chicken.
Oh, I like that.
I adore this. This is brilliant.
This is good.
So this is and God, that is so good. He Who Calls the Dawn, and the beginning of our world started with a crow that echoed through the cosmos, like
Oh man,
oh my God.
that's a good world to live on.
This is a good start. So chicken poops out egg.
Egg becomes
the egg-
world.
Yeah, how does egg become world?
Maybe it's not so much an exact egg. It's not like an eggshell, but the Earth was formed from the chicken's cloacta.
Did you just say cloacta on a
instead of
podcast?
cloaca.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Honestly,
Cloacta.
you're so smart.
That's how it's called. Look it up in a book.
It's
Look
good.
it up in our history book. We can change it. If
I'm
we want
sorry,
to.
I'm not a chicken.
We're
doctor.
building the
I'm not an egg
world.
doctor.
We can make it whatever we want. It's cloacta.
That's true. Okay, so the cloacta is can the planet be called cloacta?
The planet is, I think that's too. It's cloacta. It's called cloacta. Yes, yes.
Cloacta.
We've decided it. Welcome to the
Okay.
world of cloacta. They named it after the chicken's asshole. Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. What's a scientific name for an egg?
A spheroid, an oblong,
Those are all terrible names for a
an
planet.
egg.
Hold on.
All right. What about Tuareg? Is the name of the word? Tuareg.
Tuareg. Okay. Oh, I get it. I got there. Okay, how do you spell that?
Toreg or EAG. Is that how you spell egg?
Tuareg.
Without spelling egg with two G's?
Yeah, I like it. Tuareg.
No one will know. It's a secret. It's the world's oldest meme. The first meme was the name of the world.
The first. This chicken world. Okay. All right. So we've got a world name. We've got a early creation mythos.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's at least going to be some sort of cult on there that is privy to this information, though they're all assumed to
One
be
of them had a
crazy.
vision of a space chicken, and everyone's like, "Space chicken? Yeah, that sounds fucking stupid. You're an idiot.
Yeah. What are you, insane?
What are you, a moron?"
Go to your shame corner, cult.
And they kill him, and he turns into a big
Ostracized.
wave of chickens and ascends to heaven.
I just have this imagery from like the Zelda games where you hit a chicken and then get swarmed.
But in space, there's like a big chicken face looking down at the earth while it's happening.
Okay, there's an important thing for mythos, creation myth. Where'd the chicken go after it dropped the egg?
To get to the other side.
Oh my god! So the chicken crossed over.
Why
to
did
the other
why
side.
did he who calls the dawn cross over planes to get to the other side?
Mm-hmm. And that is the grand question of our cult.
The cult, where did he? How did he get over to where he is now?
How did he get to the other side?
Why did he cross the
that's amazing.
planar bridge?
This is. I want to play in this world already.
It's a big fucking joke, and I love it. There'll be serious parts of it.
Yeah, honestly, like pulling out the meme elements and portraying this in a serious way, this is actually a genuine cool creation, man.
Yeah.
Some sort of astral entity manifested this planet as this sort of husk that eventually formed life and then crossed over into another plane, leaving the planet essentially to its own means.
Mm-hmm.
But there are those that believe that he who calls the dawn is still watching and may return.
Yes. Roosting, if you will.
Roosting. Yes, he who calls the dawn is currently roosting.
He who calls
on the
the
other
dune.
side. The dune!
I do love the aspect of the people who they think are crazy people are the only ones who are right. Mm-hmm. And all this dumb, crazy shit they spout is like actually 100% true.
Yeah, they're absolutely accurate.
I love it.
They're also batshit crazy and do they use chicken shit for potions and things like that or whatever. I don't know.
Are they like spell focuses are chicken feet?
Yeah. Ooh, hey, that's cool actually.
Yeah.
That just makes them seem extra.
I like how we
weird.
just dug super hard into this one cult after our creation myth. We're just like
we did.
pulling it apart. Pulling it apart.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, and there'll be 100 other religions and entities that exist outside of this world, and deities and so on and so forth, because there has to be, because clerics exist, and warlocks exist, but this is a really neat start, and it'd be fun to play with some of these entities. What's their connection to he who calls the dawn?
Yeah. Does he who knows the dawn hate them, like them, not know about them? Is he too above it all to give a cluck?
Are there other eggs? Give a cluck. Oh, no.
This is bad. I shouldn't have been given this ability to make chicken bones.
No, this is perfect. This is fantastic.
I like it. I like where this is headed.
So, we've got our creation.
We've got the creation.
We've got at least a god. There's two paths we can take now. We need to define how the geography formed on the egg, right? So that things can inhabit it. Mm-hmm. Did it come out whirling and spinning with water and earth and fire and air and the planar elements? Or did it come out as just a literal
just
egg,
hunk of egg, yeah.
hurtling through space, picking up debris?
So it's just an egg. The outer shell is the crust. The inside, like the whites of the egg, would be the mantle, and the core is the yellow center of the egg.
Perfect.
Basically, but no one can get through the shell. It's impossible to get all the way through it. It's massive. And if you get too deep, you'll get transported to the Underdark, so it won't work. To protect the gooey center, he's put the Underdark barrier around it.
Okay, so the Underdark we have just canonically defined as technically a ward to protect the egg.
Creamy center. Yep.
Okay, here's another thing we've just realized. This planet eventually will crack open and give birth to another astral entity.
Yes. He who brings with him doom.
Yes. This planet is literally a living thing.
It's a time
that
bomb.
will eventually... Yeah, this world lore is amazing.
And then
it's so good.
I like the fact that the cult who calls the dawn is trying to I like the idea of them trying to like keep the egg alive and make it hatch sooner. So they're trying to like destroy the world. Yeah, they're trying to bring the birth of the new Dawn Caller or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Dawn Caller number 2.0.
Son of Dawn Caller.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I like that. Okay. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So, the crust is just, it's a surface that I feel like over time has been struck with meteors. Maybe the entity inside the egg is moving around, kicking some of the shell, like puncturing, like not puncturing, but like making little bumps in it to make mountains. Stuff like that.
Does it fall into orbit around a sun, or is there no sun? Is gravity not what we perceive it to be? On this planet.
I don't like D&D's physics in space. I think that's just dumb. Where like if you go into space you have an air bubble around you. I think that's pretty dumb. So I'm gonna say we do our real life physics.
So real life physics. So there
is an atmosphere on this egg.
This egg develops an atmosphere. Oh, like a living creature would be breathing of some sort or creating some sort of...
It would have its own atmosphere.
It would create an atmosphere
maybe
of its
it
own.
generates the atmosphere for itself. And that's what gives life to everything else.
And it's a catch-22 because if you kill this creature or allow this creature to give birth, all of that goes away.
Yeah, well, it destroys everything because it's an egg.
Yeah.
God, that'd be cool, huh?
Okay. So we've got this egg creates its own atmosphere, begins to capture debris as it spins through space on no specific trajectory. Maybe picks up some rogue asteroids into its own orbit.
Yeah. It's got 17 moons.
17 moons?
No, I don't want to name. I don't want to name all those. It's got 5 moons.
5 moons. Okay, 5 moons it's got. Okay, so it's hurtling through space. It picks up 5 moons. So it's got 5 moons.
Yes.
Plant life. Sun. Druid bullshit.
It does have plant life.
Okay.
Because... Why, Josh? Why does it have plant life? See how I did that?
I like to think that despite having an atmosphere and picking up moons for the first 1 million years, 2 million years, because keep in mind, guys, time is not... You have to consider time outside of the human perspective when you're creating a world. Pro tip. So, first couple million years, it's hurtling through space. Eventually... Well, I mean, what would create a sun for it to catch on if it was a giant chicken that was our creation myth? Or is the chicken, before it crosses over to the other side, slowly also hurtling through space,
now,
dropping
here's the thing.
other
The chicken
bodies?
isn't the sun.
Right.
It is he who calls the dawn.
Right.
So
when he roosted or crowed, he created the sun?
Yes.
A sun?
At the exact moment the egg shot out of its backside, it gave life to the sun out of its mouth. They are...
For the egg, because it
needed to be
warmth to incubate.
Yes.
It's a giant incubator.
It's a giant incubator.
Okay.
And
so they actually are created in tandem and then rotate through space together.
And I think you are correct. There are more of these egg planets out there that I think one of them has already hatched.
I love that. Some astral creature.
Some Cthulhu-esque motherfucker.
Hatched. Roaming through space looking for heat sources like our incubator that is the sun.
Yeah.
An ever-looming grand threat that could never be visited in this world's lifetime could occur.
Could. 100%.
Okay. So they've been hurtling through space.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is moving. This is kind of big bang.
Yeah.
The sun is moving, and we're moving in conjunction with the sun, rotating it around it in its own orbits. Picking up debris that creates 5 moons.
5 moons. It's got 5 moons.
Okay. And for the first million years, there's not much.
Yeah. For the first couple of million, or for the first million years, there's not much. After that,
even billions.
Let's say, now this chicken just created this one planet, not necessarily the god of all gods. It just is a being that exists in the cosmos that created the planet.
Yeah, there could be other astral chickens, metaphorically speaking, that have birthed other planets that have these entities on.
I like the idea of this just being like a supreme beast of unimaginable size and scale, that it just is its own divine essence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no killing this thing.
Right. It's outside of time as we actualize it, like it is.
Full.
Yeah. And if there are any others, they're completely different and yet entirely the same in our ability to cognate them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just these immense things.
Yes. Now, how did life get created? How did, like, sentient player race life get created?
Bacteria on the egg.
Oh my, that's too real. That's too real.
Okay. So not bacteria. Oh, that's a hard one.
People are just living germs.
You're just parasites on this egg.
They're the good bacteria, though.
Well, okay. So if we go that some of the early races were created by outer powers, benevolent creatures and spirits, or other godlike entities, those have to be created first.
Before the chicken?
Well, it could come after the chicken.
I think between the chicken and people being there, yes, gods should arise.
Okay. Which gods? What's our pantheon look like? What's our initial, like, I like to treat it like Greco-Roman pantheons, where
there has to
there's
be a
the
first.
titans, and then there's the gods, and then and pieces of them shatter off into these sporadic warring individuals who have different end goals. I also like that this creation myth begins with no good or evil.
No good or evil?
It eventually has to formulate, because good and evil.
Well, here's my
mechanically.
suggestion. What if another, like, divine entity came across this egg knowing what it was and said, I have to safeguard this so that no one attempts to open it? Because I've seen what happens when one of these things hatches, and it's bad.
It's not good.
It's a bad thing.
Okay. Oh, so then this divine being begins to seed life to help defend the egg further.
To keep, like, things, to keep a closer eye on the surface, it creates smaller creatures to exist there and, like, safeguard it.
Extraplanetary guardians of sorts.
As it basically keeps other things from outside the spectrum of their life from getting to the egg.
I adore that.
They take care of the egg itself.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's poetic.
Or, I like this even better. It places life there to siphon the energy away from the egg, so the egg remains dormant as long as people remain on it.
So we're back to being parasites.
Well, more or less, yes. It's basically using people to, like, you know how it creates its own atmosphere? They siphon away a lot of that atmosphere so it can't sustain itself as well. So it's slow.
In stasis. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's so slow that it's taking even longer, more million years.
Just destroying the egg would be catastrophic.
Yes.
And equally catastrophic would be allowing it to birth. So its life has been put on this egg as a stasis to sap it but not destroy it. Or
so I don't think this being has the capacity to destroy it, but I also think he does not want it to hatch. Or she, them. They don't want it to hatch. Let's be neutral. They don't want it to hatch, so they put life here to siphon resource and energy away from the egg to keep it stasis.
I'm 100% behind this and for this. What is
ripping
this?
Through this creation myth, by the way.
We really are. We're killing it. So what is this entity? Where does it come from? Where do they come from?
Maybe it came from another plane? Or maybe it came from a different part of this reality?
No, this is good because he who calls the dawn.
Yes.
No, sassy. He who calls the dawn crossed over to another side.
Mm-hmm.
And so this creature came back to this side because they were threatened by he who went over. They know how big a problem it is. They came over to this side to keep this egg from hatching because they don't want a second one.
Yes. Okay, that is good.
So
what side? Now, what side did that beast go to?
Can we just call it the other side?
The other side. There's no this doesn't. It doesn't tie to another plane. It's just the other side.
What if it's our own plane? What if we create a new plane called the other side?
That's amazing because it's a chicken and it's a good meme.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. And the other side we can define later in future podcasts. So we have this plane called the other side. This entity came from... So we've got the astral chicken going over to the other side, scaring what's ever on the other side so much that they came over to this side to stop or prevent a second one from happening.
Basically,
Unable to destroy this egg, but placing it into a stasis by sapping its life from it by placing living creatures upon it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So this creature, at least this being, this entity, has the ability to carve life into this egg, to form seas and geography out of the debris that has already collected on the egg.
Yes.
What do we call this?
We call it the Beyonders.
The Beyonders?
No, I'm kidding. That's from Marvel, I believe.
Oh.
Or it's from DC, one of those two. They're all
It's
the same.
from comics.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like the idea of this being such an old myth that people don't know
Doesn't
in
have
full clarity. Like, this god also probably isn't worshipped that much.
Right. This is the first god of life.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a god of the creation of the planet, which is just worshipped by a crazy cult. And then we've got a god of life that, again, has kind of gone... Well, it has a presence, though, this being, because it's still there, safekeeping.
How about this? What if this thing... something happened to it?
Okay.
Like, while it was creating life and it was making sure everything was set up to be, set up so the egg stays in stasis. Something happened to it, so it then divided itself into gods.
I like that.
So we don't have to name this thing. We just have to name
the gods.
What it turned itself into, basically.
This was whatever it was from the beyond.
Yes.
Was the sun also a defense mechanism that shattered this creature? Like, something like that?
The sun?
Yeah, like, okay.
Oh.
So the astral chicken created these two things to incubate this planet. This sun is here already. Is it also warmth, life for its egg, but also a defense mechanism?
Maybe it found out that if it stayed in this form, the sun would alert the old beast of its presence here and come back and fucking eat it.
So it split itself.
So it divided itself to be less detectable, but still watch over the planet or the egg. This is good. We're figuring it out.
Good. We're getting there. This is the process, guys.
This is just to avoid us naming one guy. I've destroyed him and made more.
You've made more for us to name. I love this creation.
It's very good. It's very good
amazing
stuff. I don't think we should name the gods yet. I think we should do a Pantheon specific episode if we do that.
I think that's a really good idea. So we know the gods are here. We know they are creating a habitable space so that the parasitic life forms
they
can
are
keep this
attempting to maintain the status quo of the exterior of the egg to keep it in stasis.
Mm-hmm. And eventually, like, maybe one portion of this god decides to go rogue. And
here's the thing about balance. They have to keep it the same. They don't have to make everything good for the people on it. Mm-hmm. So there is an aspect of this thing that deals with making sure the population isn't too big on this thing, thus killing the egg and potentially like damaging it or making things worse.
Yeah,
so
causing another catastrophe.
It lowers the population, like the god of death. He makes, things. He basically regulates how regular people die and all that shit, so they can stay on the egg. Then there's...
I really do like, though, a betrayer myth. Like, there's an element of this being that's broken itself out. One of these gods that decides it wants to.
Oh, fully. That could be a thing, too.
Of years, yeah.
I'm just saying,
we're getting into pantheons now, but
we're getting into red versus blue territory.
Yeah, we're starting to like this, and this is where like the conflict comes from.
Yeah,
the strife.
No, I like that.
Yeah, and again, because there's no in this creation myth, there is no this thing becomes good and this thing becomes evil. That's going to be really interesting to navigate when we start to talk about elements of good and evil, which are inherently mechanically a part of Dungeons and Dragons.
Fully. Which I don't always agree with.
Yeah, exactly.
And alignment.
You can ignore it entirely.
This is the first real stance I'm going to take on this podcast, besides dwarves are cool. Alignment is garbage. Everyone listening. Yep. Don't use alignment. It's bad. This has been your weekly advertisement for the Alignment is Bullshit Council.
We just need like a some sort of sound effect to go off when you say that, like ba-bow, bow, bow, bow.
My hot take
Yeah,
notification.
hot take. Sean's hot take.
Yeah. I'm gonna record like a little thing like this has been a PSA from the Players Against Alignment Council.
I love it. Yeah, that's perfect. So I really like that. I love that element.
It's really good.
Okay.
So we've got all that sort of situated away. Is there anything else we want to add in to the creation myth, like maybe a different aspect or just some random element?
Well,
Like maybe there's just another portion that at the same time this other shit was happening that they just didn't know about.
anything else? Anything else? I mean, I think we leave it open. I think there's opportunity for things to come from the other side,
Yes.
or for gods to go back to the other side, right? Like,
That's
I think those events can happen as we need them, as we're making the world, right?
Yeah. I think that works.
Because I think this is a really good core creation myth, and if we lock it in too much, we're not going to have any wiggle room when we get further down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah. I do we want to, because we said our like other element was geography. Do we want to get into how that begins to happen on this planet? How the oceans are formed, and so on and so forth. Is it just all debris that begins to collect, or is there a god that begins to craft this into something hospitable?
So my thought was when this entity first arrived, it sort of crafted the surface to be sort of sustainable.
Okay. Before it split itself.
Before it split itself, as it was doing that work, it noticed that it was being detected, or it realized that if it stayed this way, it was going to be seen. So it split itself off to keep itself hidden.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it began to draw the eye. It made it took the existing debris on this egg and turned it into land masses.
Yeah.
And then
it placed living creatures among those land masses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, now bye-bye. So
yeah.
If it's placing living creatures, the geography then is essentially done. We get to just say, well, it placed it like this, which can be fun.
I also have something to posit. Let me just hear me out on this.
Okay.
What if all arcane magic comes from the thing inside the egg?
It's a force, a source of arcana.
It is the source of all magic on this planet.
Okay.
Every wizard, sorcerer,
warlock,
like
though?
warlocks, meh. I mean, they draw their power from something. That power has to come from something too.
Right.
But it depends on who they make the deal with. If they make it with a fiend, it comes from the Hells. If they make it from the Feywild, it comes from there.
You remember we were talking about how like the Underdark was formed during the egg's conceptualization to protect it. I like to think that there are entities that were sewed into that Underdark that are also incredibly powerful demigod-like creatures.
Ooh.
that were there by the Astral Chicken's design, essentially.
That are there to protect its deepest cracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those things
its weakest points
begin to reach out to, as they may not even know their own creation myth either, right? They just know they're there to protect the yoke, but they begin to reach out to the beings on the surface.
So
and there are pacts formed as well, and there are sources of magic there. But I like the idea of specific magic types inherently coming from.
Here what I'll posit to you. Wizards and bards, their version of magic is learned and harnessed outside of themselves, because wizards learn it in school, bards learn it on the road, and then they focus that magic into spells that they create.
Yeah. It's the whole ley line concept, like it's an existing source that they learn to manipulate.
Yeah, but they don't know why the ley lines are so specific or set up in this way, where it's like it's very strange. So almost like designed to be this way.
So their magic comes from the yoke.
It comes from the yoke. Oh, that's great.
And then we create an egg wizard subclass. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh my god. But sorcerers get it from whatever they got it from. Warlocks get it from the deals they make.
Like sorcerers are inherently, like, I assume again these creatures that were placed across the planets, like sentience could be as powerful as dragons, and there's like mixed bloodline stuff there for
I like
sorcerers.
That. I feel
and
like
then the warlocks making pacts with the fractions of the god or with these other creatures that exist below the surface.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's awesome.
I
We got a full creation myth in under an hour. Look at that.
I know, that's pretty good.
We're talented.
We're genius.
We should do this every week.
I agree. This is fun. This is really fun.
It was really fun.
Let's summarize what we've done one more time too as the outro.
All right. So before we go, one more summary. What do we have? We've got ancient.
Go ahead.
Oh God, I will not remember all of it. Please take it from me.
Okay, here we go. So we have a giant extraplanar astral chicken that birthed this planet. Which, as it birthed the planet, it created a sun, an incubator to keep the yolk alive and eventually give birth to a secondary astral chicken. Upon the completion of this task, it yeeted itself over to the other side. When it landed on the other side, it terrified whatever entities lived there, and they crossed back over to this side. They sent an agent. Now, this is happening over millions, if not billions, of years. And during that time, the egg has been hurtling through space with its sun picking up debris and moons like the 5 moons. When this extra creature kind of arrives, it finds this egg and its incubator, and the egg, birthed by the astral chicken, has this underdark layer around the yolk protecting it that has all these different powerful entities, these creatures that may not necessarily know why they're there, but they know they're there to protect the center of this planet. The entity that has crossed over from the beyond, the other, or whatever we're going to call them, begins sowing and making this land, this egg, habitable with the intent of putting life forms on the planet that will sap the life force out of the egg so that it cannot be birthed. This grand entity isn't powerful enough to destroy the egg, but it doesn't want it to be birthed into another, essentially, astral chicken. So it's going to put life forms on the planet to keep that balance, maintain that balance. As it does this and seeds the planet with life forms, it begins to realize that it may be detectable by the astral chicken, so it splinters itself off into a whole series of demigod creatures, which eventually become the gods of this patron, allowing us to define magic, warlocks pulling their magic from pacts with either these demigods or the creatures of the Underdark. It allows us to define that wizards and bards pull their magic from the arcane ley lines that are inherently a part of this egg, of this creature that exists in the center of the planet. And then the sorcerers gaining their magic from bloodlines tethered to all of these different entities and deities, essentially defining the initial source of our planet's geography, the magic, and the creation myth and god myth for the entire planet. And that is our synopsis.
Damn. That's good.
We did that in less than 50 minutes, Sean.
That's
is impressive.
Really cool. I would play. I would listen to this podcast every week if I could.
You should.
It sounds pretty interesting.
It's called the Lore Dump. You should definitely. Yeah, Lore Dump.
That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Now, say, Josh, tell me, your newest and most fervent viewer, where would I submit my questions if you were to ask me if I had any questions and I wanted to submit them?
So, you changed the email on me, so I don't actually know what it is.
I found a note you sent me just now in the Discord. It's loredumpquestions@gmail.com, all lowercase, and doesn't appear to be any numbers or spaces in there, Josh. Very good.
This is definitely something that I knew, and you're welcome. I'm so happy that I could provide that.
Hey, I'm going to send you all of my questions from my big upcoming campaign that I'm working on, or something. Please.
Lots of questions, all the questions, because we're going to answer those questions.
Do you take homebrew requests?
Yes. In fact, those are our most favoritist requests.
No. What if I asked you of a subclass or race or magic item or rule I wanted to do?
We would love to provide our feedback on that, viewer.
Well,
listener.
Then, this is makes my day. I'll do it immediately. I'll send you all my emails, or I'll find you at. Oh, I see it. You also added this on the note at Twitter at the Lore Dump and at Instagram at the Lore Dump.
You're such a good listener.
Wow.
You've retained all of this information that I gave
your
you.
note helps. It's all I'm looking at right now.
I'm good at this. Well done, me.
Perfect. Well, that's gonna do it for this week, listeners. We are going to end the show. Wow, how do people do this?
Signing out
Bye.
noises.
Hopefully, copyright-free music will be playing. Or his.
Death metal.